freeze it. All right, making sure we are live here. Are we going live? Maybe, maybe not. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Let me just... Doing a live Magic with Zuby right now. Okay, and our Discord is aware. Okay. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Looks like you're doing some work. Don't tell me you're answering emails.
No, I'm setting aside some PTO time on
Oh,
Friday.
okay, good. So I'll make sure you're not trying to do... We just got done talking about work. And
No,
don't...
no, no.
Okay, good.
No.
All right. So we're live. This is going to be in the final cut, too. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Magic with Zuby. My name is Zuby, and if you're brand new to this show is all about a little well-known card game called Magic the Gathering and more. Once again, I have the amazing, the illustrious, the fantastic Dante, one of the greatest devs of our time.
Well, we can go that far. Pretty good. Pretty darn good.
I mean, it's close. It's close. You are like what the... Hold on. The seventh mage of Mysidia, or seventh in line. I forgot the name of the title already.
Yeah, it's all right.
So we're here today because I know it's been a couple weeks since the last episode. Life has honestly gotten crazy. I think for all of us on the Walrus team right now, it's been insane. We're gonna have updates on our products here, but the biggest one we want to talk about tonight is Darkstorm Adventures, and we officially have a release date for the book, our first book, Darkstorm Adventures, Silver Flame's Legacy: Escape to Stangate, out April 15th. And as you can see it right here on screen if you're watching. If not, just picture me holding a book if you're listening to the audio. And it is a gorgeous book with a gorgeous cover.
It really is.
So, man, how are you doing? How excited are you for our first official Walrus release, which you can see and hear our Walrus actually in the back of the book, too? Did you think we were even going to make it this far?
I'll put it this way. I did. I did think we would get this far. I did think that we would have a book. I did think that you would be a published author. I did believe that, it would be something, right? But I think what I really failed to understand was the kind of, if you will, the spark of life, the birth of a new world, if you will, in the fantasy setting, the and just the number of like story elements that are vaguely referenced in this particular book, but have it's a deep thread in future stories and in the world that is we're giving birth to. So, and how it all came together and how everybody agreed on it and the discussions we had, it was it was really good. Were some very good writing sessions. So I think that's, when a year ago when we first had the idea, I thought, well, it'll just be like right, the old TSR kind of adventure module, right?
Yeah.
But it's not. This is right up there with WotC stuff, right? Or Kobold Press. It's a good book. It's a solid book. The art's good. The content is excellent. The storylines are good. I think there's some. What I also like, I won't spill the beans, but there are moments when you have to make uncomfortable decisions, right?
Yes.
And that's really kind of lacking in a lot of these modules, right? It's a little, I, I'll just say that, you know, uh, published adventure books may not always broach certain topics, right?
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
lots of reasons.
and just to give some context, is we're not talking like deep and dark
No,
um areas here. We're not talking like, oh, we're trying to be, unwoke badasses here to,
no,
no, we're and you're right, because I mean, we're playing through two um campaigns right now. We're doing the Pathfinder Kingmaker, which, I
hmm
mean, I've been having fun with it so far, and we've also been doing the new Lost Mines of Fandelver, which, you're right, and I've already read through the Fandelver book, and you're right, there's decisions to be made, but not the ones that we're talking about here. Ones that,
right,
you know, should make the players sit back and realize, like, okay, well, what do we really want to do here? Like, let's discuss this, and, what are the implications if we do something or do nothing?
right, exactly. So we're not in to just expand on one thing, the darkness. It's not. We're not talking about like very, very bad acts of violence towards people, or you know kind of sexual encounters or
Yeah.
anything of that nature. What we're saying is that they're um, some of the decision making in like the big books and the big companies, right? They're just kind of lukewarm, right? But this is tough. Like you'll be put into situations where you need to make a decision, and it could be life or death for one group, or it could be life or death for another group, or it could be something else. But it's not an easy choice, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of these not easy choices all along the way, and will continue to be that way. So
Oh yeah, I've already come up with some for book two,
yeah,
which is fun.
so so I think that's what shocked me the most is how much more we've put into it than just saying we're going to do this adventure book, and the things we've learned along the way
Oh
have
yeah.
been
Oh yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, because
You know,
I always envisioned that the first book here was really going to be like the starting book, the starter book, right? The book where we sort of have our training wheels on. Like, we're
right?
not going to go too crazy with it in terms of what I really wanted to do, right? I was sort of picturing something easy to start off with. I mean, it was not easy to finish it, let me tell you. It was still a lot of work. But um I and so I think all the lessons that we learned from this first book, getting it done, now that I'm writing the second book, I'm not afraid to experiment a little bit more. Let's do some more custom stuff. Let's do some more, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, different kind of branching storylines here and see what happens.
Uh, exactly. It's we have to. I, I think it's both of our desires to present a more interesting, and I don't want to say realistic, but fantasy realistic, like a little bit more like everything's not the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit, where
Yeah.
it just or Narnia or anything like that. No, there's some really. It's I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's somewhere between like this whole Game of Thrones where everybody dies all the time and there's not really a storyline there, sort of, kind of thing. But more of a and so it's somewhere between like Game of Thrones and say The Hobbit, right? We want
Yeah.
there to be some serious consequences, um, and but in the process, there's a whole lot of fun that happens, right?
Oh yeah.
Um, you know,
Oh yeah. I mean, there's in this book alone, I mean, yeah, it's, you've got plenty of fun. It's a three chapter book, which, some people may think it's not that long, but, it's depending. obviously always depending on the GM. I mean, this should last about 3 to 4, possibly 5 sessions or so. So I mean, that's a each session about 3 to 4 hours. That's a lot of hours there. And then the best part about this, even if you don't want to use the world of Aspartia, I mean, this could easily fit in like any other, like say Forgotten Realms if you wanted to, or Dragonlance or Greyhawk. You
Oh
know,
yeah, for
it, it,
sure.
it's and yeah, and I agree with you on the level of the fantasy where it's like a mix of Game of Thrones and Middle Earth. Um, and I'm gonna kill my cat that's in the background scratching up my couch, as you can see her. um, and then but it's not to say it's a good mix of, yeah, there's gonna be serious stuff, but there's gonna be lighthearted stuff too, right? That
Oh yeah,
happens. I
most
mean,
definitely. It's not a
it's not
yeah,
all dark and
it's
serious.
not. It's a roller coaster ride of fun and serious and fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
and we throw in some side quests in there for, um, you know, that aren't just some more like role playing s type side quests. Some, you know, I'm trying not to spoil stuff. It's hard not to because I just want to talk about the entire book, right? Um, but it's hard. It's like, no, I want to give people the chance. The other thing I want to talk about is originally we were going to do 2 books, and we have now just gotten it down to 1 book. If you
Mhm.
notice on the front cover of the book, if you're watching the video, how it says 5e compatible and Pathfinder compatible. So the original plan was to make one version for 5e and another version for Pathfinder, but we got some good advice from an LGS owner up in your neck of the woods in Ohio saying,
Yeah.
why not just make it 1 book? And then that sort of like changed our entire outlook. Like, holy crap, not only is that a great selling point, but it's also easy for GMs that, that like playing both D&D and Pathfinder, right? And
Exactly.
so I think that's a huge selling point for our book because there are and the way we did it was there are going to be parts of the book where if you followed me on Twitter and all my other socials, I've sort of shown little previews of it, but there's going to be like little boxes of the book where it says like skill check or encounters, and they'll be sectioned off showing. So for 5e, you're going to run these kind of skill checks or saving throws. Um, in Pathfinder, you're going to run these kind of encounters or saving throws.
Hmm.
So it's that way and there's going to be separate stat blocks as well too, in this book and future books, so you're not having to buy 2 books, right? So
Right.
it's all in one, which I don't think anyone's doing that right now. I haven't seen anyone doing it. I think we're the first to do it.
Mhm.
And it
I just wonder, like, I did, you know, do they just not have the depth of playtime? Just curious, or familiarity with the system, or targeting a system. Because to me, the way we've done this is, well, I'll just say it, it's brilliant. You came up with a great idea on how to make this work for both systems in 1 book, and I think it's fantastic. So,
Yeah, well, no, I appreciate it. I mean, it's not always easy, and yeah, the easy thing to do could just be, well, we just make it for D&D because that has the bigger market share, right? But
right.
we're all kind of on the Pathfinder train personally. I think our whole playgroup, we love Pathfinder, but
Hmm.
that doesn't mean we don't enjoy playing D&D. Because like I said, we're playing through the Lost Mines of Fandelver book. Um, was it the obelisk? Was it the Shattered Obelisk um, one? And I will say, like, if I would not be playing it, we would not be playing D&D if it wasn't for this campaign right now. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
If I wanted to have us play a custom campaign, not a book we're writing, I would choose Pathfinder 100% to DM or GM. It's just I've been wanting to play this book forever, and you guys said, yeah, let's play it.
Yep. I mean, let's play it. I mean, the thing is time for the things you really care about, and I really care about this. I care about playing these RPGs and things I haven't done before, like the whole Kingmaker. I mean, Fandelver, and then just this book. I mean, I can't wait to actually play this book once we get it in our hands again. I know we've played it and played it, but I want to play it all the way through. Like what I want to do is tee it up for our first kind of alpha test of book two. So play all of book one and then go straight into the alpha testing.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right. So then that gives us the ability to kind of, kind of understand where we left off, if you will, and then
Yeah.
how does that gel with what we just made, and what change? We'll be able to spot the things we need to fix faster if
Hmm.
we. So I'm looking
That's not a
forward.
bad idea. It's because I'm trying to avoid wanting to play test each chapter individually of it because as I've been writing this, I think I told you the other day, like I was halfway through chapter 2 last week, and then I wrote myself into a corner, and then I just deleted like it all, and then I'm like, I'm starting from scratch. Well, kind of starting from scratch, and so now I'm writing it again, and it's better already. So, but the thing that I love about the playtest process is, getting the feedback from you guys and what your characters do too. Like as we all know as GMs, where you can never count on what your players are gonna do. They're always gonna surprise you, and that with the playtesting that you guys did for the Pathfinder part and the playtesting I had for the 5e part, it helped shape the book. You know, it's there's stuff that happened in the final product of this book that wasn't there during the playtesting, and go back and rewrite stuff, and I love that part, man.
Yep. So do I. So I mean, that's all I can say is this. So do I.
I know. I just want to keep talking about it more. Like I just want to. I want to talk about book 2 more. Also, it's like so hard to keep my mouth shut about it. Um, there. We've got so many other ideas for books, and it sucks that we always don't have all the time because we don't want to. One, I feel like all of us, we don't want to rush something. We want to make sure it's good. It's not like we're a big company like Watsy where we have to make quarterly profits and all this stuff and rush out a product. No, it's going to get done when we're done. You know, and it's we got the Blade auction eventually. We've got my alien abduction type book that I've already written a chapter on for Darkstorm. That's going to be fun. It's going to be a fantasy twist of alien abduction.
Yeah.
Uh oh, are you distracted, Dante?
Sorry. Yeah. Just for a hot second. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, no, you're okay. You're okay. Oh no, don't tell me you're looking at work right now. Don't do it.
I'm
Don't
not. I'm
don't
looking at. I'm looking at you.
don't do it. Guys, so before we even started going live and recording, we had a work bitch session, just griping about work. And this guy right here, I got to give Dante a little bit of shit here. Stop looking at work emails because it's
I'm
so
not.
easy. It's so easy to do. Oh, okay. Were we not in our what was it last week or the week before during our weekly Walrus meeting? I was like audibly like frustrated because I just kept on getting emails and texts, and you're like, dude,
Yeah.
don't look at it. Don't look at it. And I didn't take your advice.
You did not. But I have now. Yes, I did read an email. It was, but it wasn't actually inbound. I just reread one that I sent out just to see how shitty I was in it, and it turns out,
Oh, okay. The one you were talking about. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it wasn't that bad actually.
Okay.
But,
All
but
right.
I know what's in my heart versus the English. So
True. True.
anyway, back to topic.
All right. Darkstorm
Everybody,
Adventures. We've got Blade Auction coming. We've got the alien abduction story coming. Which
yep,
that one, that one I kind of can't wait because that's going to be a fun fantasy twist on alien abduction.
yes, it is. That should be interesting, right? Um, if I think that it could be something that if well written, we haven't seen before. In at least I've never seen anything like it. I think maybe TSR. Well, actually, that's not true. TSR came really close to it with one adventure module, and I'm trying to remember which one it was. Do you remember that? There was like a crashed spaceship on the cover.
Well. Remember it's an alien abduction theme, but it's not actually aliens.
No, I know that. I know
But
that.
okay, okay.
But in that
I don't
vein,
know.
I swear. All right, so I'm gonna while we're talking, I want to see this, right?
Speaking of old TSR adventure modules, you know what we should do? So I started, I need to. I need to go through the Swords and Wizardry book again. The revised version of basic D&D, not advanced D&D first edition, but basic D&D. We could use that rule set probably for a lot of those old D&D modules too. Just probably do some conversions in them. That would be fun as hell. Like,
That would be.
because as much as I love, fifth edition and Pathfinder, I really want to get back and play this Swords and Wizardry basic D&D version, because do some actual like dungeon crawling here where, you know, there's gonna be there will be certain death around the corner. you know.
I like that. I the Blade auctions. To some extent, the Blade auction series kind of dips its toe. I mean, that's kind of that niche, right?
Yeah.
Because it's really so. If anybody doesn't understand what Blade auction is, it's a series of adventures that we're playtesting and building out. They're literally one shot. It's more it's taking the world of Aspartia that the Darkstorm Silver Flame Legacy is happening in, and it's it's giving you the option to treat it like more like a what's the phrase I'm looking for? West Marches campaign? Is
Yeah.
that it?
Yeah. Yep.
More like West Marches, where you got 6 or 7 guys who like to play D&D, but only 3 can show up at any point in time, and they're not always the same people.
Yep.
That was kind of Gygax's old West, or somebody's old West Marches philosophy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we're headed down that road with this, where it's just one shot. Go do this adventure, and most of them are probably going to end up being, dungeons, and go in there and
Yeah. Well,
whack
because
'em
we've
all.
play tested what, 3 of them so
Mm-hmm.
far. We did the bank, the prison escape, and the
Yep.
ship.
Yeah, the bank heist in enemy territory, right? So
Yeah.
not only did you have to go into enemy territory and avoid that, you had to go in and deal with an old dwarven bank full of
Oh god,
you
fucking
know tricks and
our
traps.
our great friend Lynx. I just gotta tell the quick story. So Dante is DMing us. It's me, Kurt, and Lynx, just playing, and we're doing Pathfinder. Oh, that's right. I made a little goblin sorcerer who was obsessed with fire. I think it was, and he was playing his witch that loved to use her guts to swing with a rope. That's my favorite cantrip in all of Pathfinder. I have not found one that I like more.
That's an interesting one.
So we're going through the vault, and I think we were near the end of it, and there was some guardian or something. I can't remember what exactly that we woke up.
Yeah.
And Kurt and Lynx get into the final part of the vault, and then they close the door on me, and I can't open the door, and I'm stuck with this like guardian, and I'm just like, oh shit. And I think I had to like re-trigger the trap or something, and just
Yeah,
barely survived by the seat of my pants.
it was bad.
It was great. It was great.
Oh my god, that was fantastic. So there's that. Yeah, the bank heist. And then it was what else was there? There was
There was
yeah,
the jailbreak one.
the jailbreak where
Um,
you had to go in and uh, rescue somebody out of the city jail that you're actually in, right? So
yeah,
almost like it's almost like Ocean's 11 kind
yeah,
of thing where you had to if you studied, if you did the math, if you did everything, it would be easy. If you just said we're walking in with swords, it was very, very difficult to see.
yeah.
Right? And then there was
The ship one.
the ship, naval combat. I can't wait. I cannot.
I
So,
know.
so those of you that are listening, the second book won't spoil too much, but you're on the high seas, trouble finds you.
Oh yeah.
And so we've been play testing a set of rules that are very interesting in that you have to essentially play a role on the ship. So what we've done is we've taken the concept of this is this is my class, generally speaking, in
Hmm.
TTRPG, and saying, okay, now you get to pick a role, i.e., a class that you would play on the ship in a
Hmm.
pinch. Like, oh, I could work the sails, right? Or I could mend,
Yeah,
something.
I can work one of the rigs. I can go up on
Yeah,
the crow's nest. I can be the navigator. And the one thing is that each class can do each role, but some classes may be more better suited for certain roles because of, stats and skills. But
e- exactly.
it's not going to give you like a huge boost, right? It's not like you know, only the rogue can ever do the sales because he's the most dexterous, right?
Nope, nope, not at all, not at all. And you can switch roles. You have
Yeah.
to take a one round break, right? And then you can take on another role. So it's almost like kind of like Sea of Thieves, where you can patch the hole in the hull and then
Yeah.
haul upstairs and operate a cannon, uh, situation, or so things like that. Like that, obviously there are some video game influences on it, but it's fun. We play tested. It is so much fun. Um,
Yeah. I know we gotta do it again. It's there's been something else we've been working on that's been taking up a lot of our time too, which I'm so pumped about. But
yep.
before we get into it, is there anything else with Darkstorm we want to bring up? We've got the book. The book is coming out April 15th.
Look at that. That's a real effing book.
I know.
Hard. Look at the hardcover. Look at it on edge.
I
Like
know.
there's no.
It's crazy that this is real.
Yep.
And look, the Walrus logo. It's actually happening. Our first official Walrus product. Um,
It's pretty badass. I will tell you that.
I mean,
It's
I don't know. I'm super pumped. And then, we're already working on the second book. I'm hoping, you know, I'm not going to make any promises when that's coming out because it's like you said. I think for us right now, we just want to make the best product we can. We don't want to just rush it out. And plus,
yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
with all of us having actual families and day jobs. Um, and plus, the other big thing we've been working on is taking up a lot of time too.
Hold
Or
on, but before you go there,
okay,
let me for all those people that are hanging on my earlier statement of there was a D&D, a TSR adventure module that maybe was space oriented or aliens or something like that. It was called Expedition to the Barrier Peaks. That was the one.
Expedition to the Barrier Peaks.
Yep. There's a
Okay.
crashed starship buried for centuries. There
Oh, I
were
don't think I've heard of this one.
weapons. Yeah, it was this was way back. They redid it for 5th edition, but it was way back in the day. The hell?
Oh wow.
S3 was it? It was module. Yeah, module S3. For those of you that go back that far,
So, what version of D&D is this for?
Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it was for AD&D,
Okay.
but character levels 8 through 12, and it was looks like it was released around the 1980 time frame, which makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was, So there's, like I said, there's been that kind of alien thing in the, if you want to call it the Dungeons and Dragons universe. So I think it's interesting that we're going to be doing an alien abduction theme, but maybe not necessarily, so people could believe it was, but
Yeah.
you know, it Tomb of Horrors was S1. Are you kidding me?
Well, yeah. They sort of redid Tomb of Horrors a little bit. Tomb of Annihilation for
Yes, I
fifth
know.
edition, which I've
I have,
played. Tomb of Annihilation. That's a fun one. Now, if you want to talk about a 5e campaign we could play like after Fandelver, that one I would definitely run for us because that's
100% I want to run it because that is a fun one.
yeah.
Although I do know a couple of the traps already, but I won't reread them.
I know, right? That's the downside because it's even if I never play the campaign books, I still like reading through them and
Mm-hmm.
get ideas off them.
Yep.
But anyways, let's talk about Network Engineer Simulator, which holy shit, we've made so much progress on it lately.
It's crazy. Do we do a little quick? Well, is this just a podcast
Yeah,
or is there?
yeah, just a podcast. So
Okay.
I do want to plan another Q&A stream where we get to show the game and play it again because there's been some major improvements to the game. Let's just say, for all intents and purposes, the I guess it's safe to say the programming of the demo level is done.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah,
For
95%.
it's just now the thing that's we're finishing up the well, we have the layout of the demo level done. Now it's the texturing, the modeling, um, the what else do you call it? The like making it look good type stuff. You know,
Yeah, so it starts with a piece of paper
yeah.
or a drawing of what the floor plan is, but as they call it, gray boxing. So what we did is we did the gray boxing, which is just like a bunch of objects as placeholders, and now we're going in like real meshes.
Oh,
Um,
that's what it's okay. Okay.
so the mesh, think of it this way: the mesh is like the physicalness of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. The mesh is more like the physicalness of it, and they made me forget.
And then the textures or
Yeah, the textures are more or less the skin, like what you see. Is it white? Is it black? Does it glow? Kind of a thing.
okay.
So, um, so that's just the way I think of mesh like a. There is a thing called a skeleton, but the mesh is kind of like the physicality of it, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And I know that's what Lynx has been working on. He's been getting the layout of the demo level, and doing all the textures, the mesh, the gray, all that stuff you said. I don't know all the correct terminology for it, and there's still a bit to go for it. Last we saw,
mhm.
but yeah, I guess you're right. 95% of the programming of the demo level is done.
Mhm.
I mean, technically players could play it right now, but it's there's still so much unfinishedness of it.
Yep. So the official word is materials, mesh and material. Mesh
Mesh and
is like
materials. Okay.
material is kind of like the look, Like, is it
Yeah,
gray? Is it black? Is it orange? Where or does it look like a brick wall? Whereas the mesh is the physical of it.
okay,
Like, is it a wall? Is it, do you collide with it? That sort of
that
thing.
makes sense. Okay, yeah. So I mean, we just saw, what was it, last night, the night before? We had a quick, no, it was the night before. We had a quick impromptu Walrus meeting, and we, because I wanted to, one, talk about Silver Flame release, and then also get some ideas for Network Engineer Simulator. To at least start some of what my work can be for it. And we discussed that, and then Lynx shows us, progress on what he's done the demo level. It's just, holy crap, it looks good. I downloaded the latest updates on Perforce and played around with it a little bit. It's exciting. It's exciting stuff. It's like
Yeah,
it,
it really is. You know what I mean?
it's got me kind of pumped. It's like,
It looks like a real data center all of a sudden, right?
right, and we got a real lobby and all that stuff,
A
and
lobby and he designed the key card, and the key card looks amazing.
oh, I know, I love the little logo for the key card and all that. It's
Yeah,
great.
I think he crushed that. So and there's a little surprise in the game. I'm not going to ruin it, but there is an Easter egg in the game. It relates to something maybe we were discussing earlier in this
Oh,
podcast.
okay.
So
Yeah, that'll be cool.
yeah.
And so just based on that, I mean, I've already started pre-production on our very first official level of NetSim, which it's one. It's putting on my network engineer / architect hat, which is fun. Having to draw up Visio diagrams just like I did for the demo level, and so I'm just going to start knocking out some of those pre-production of the levels. And, I know you said we're going to try to get some help on just the layout of the levels and, designing the levels. And that'd be great, just get us ahead of the game, because now I may be simplifying it, and you can probably answer the questions here. But
Okay.
once we have like pretty much the programming done, and a lot of the back end infrastructure of like the network, should it be making the levels and the puzzles go a little bit faster once we get a lot of that figured out?
Oh yeah. Like right now, so for everyone, right now, there's a good chunk of C++ code that's being written that will basically, it's gonna emulate a real network, right? So it's not just the physical things that we've got done and the clicking of the cables and all that, but there's this back component piece which basically emulates the electrical nature, literally down even to the electrical nature and the lag in the wire of a message getting from a device operating system saying, I want to send an echo test, which almost never happens nowadays. For those listening, that's port 7. Port 7 is echo. But running maybe say an echo test where you send a message down the wire, and then the receiving device OS echoes it back, right? So we've got kind of that we've written C++ code to essentially emulate that whole from the OS, giving it to the port hardware, giving it to the wire, down the wire with a little bit of lag, back up the wire to the port, to the device, to the OS, right? So we've mimicked that.
Mm-hmm.
And not just as simple strings, but we, again, for those of you maybe that are new and haven't heard this before, we actually are mimicking real Ethernet frames, 802.3, I think, or something like that.
It's something like that. I don't remember, but yeah, you showed me. We're mimicking actual frames. You program the headers, the you
Yep.
know, the
There's the
body,
preamble.
the
So
preamble.
there's
Yeah.
the interblock gap, all that stuff, right? So we've got real. It's a real Ethernet frame. That is the data class. So like for those of you that understand what I'm talking about, programmers, the class actually is an Ethernet frame. So you stuff all
It's
the right
so
pieces in the
cool.
right, and including the checksum. We figured out the checksum,
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
right?
yeah. We are going to be able to emulate CRC errors as well too at some
Yep.
point.
So, the point is what Zuby was saying. The point is that once that's complete, which I'm hoping will be this weekend, that's done forever. Like that's just done forever. And
Yeah.
anything that we build inside of a blueprint in Unreal, a device, a wireless cell phone, anything, right, is going to be able to take. Well, wireless is different, but you get the idea. Anything that we
Yeah.
make, a telephone sitting on the desk that uses Ethernet for communication, it will be able to connect to that quote unquote network,
Mm-hmm.
and that code will already be in place. So it's not the level designer just has to say, this is how I want it to interact, and to blueprint in some messages to go across that, across the wire, that sort of thing, and we're done.
Dude,
Done.
I'm so excited about that. I can't wait. I can't wait till we start getting into the CLI programming too.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot of fun. Um,
I built it too so that the wire, the wire's dumb, but it does know if something's connected, if it's connected at the other end,
yeah.
right? So that if you try to pump something on the wire and it's not connected at the other end, message isn't, it's not going to go anywhere. It just
That's
sits.
awesome.
It sits on the port queue.
So we're going to actually
Waiting.
be able to do pings and trace routes and all that stuff,
Yep, you
like
bet.
actual networking. It's so cool. It's
Now, eventually, right? That's not day one.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, it's set expectations here. Like when we get the demo out, it's probably just going to be cabling.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably release an update of the demo where, okay, maybe there's some basic CLI commands or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
We haven't even gotten that far. We just want to get the demo level done, into the hands of players to start, play testing, give us feedback, basically break it, tell us
Yeah.
where the bugs are and stuff.
Exactly.
And because I've play tested it a bunch already and found some bugs, but I mean, we're only what, 4 people.
Yeah.
We need more, but it's
Well, right now we're making do. We do
yeah,
eventually we will need more people, but if we can get the community to kind of play test and report bugs and break it, I think that's perfect. We'll fix them, we'll patch them up, and then as we kind of release each next new piece, whether it's as an a alpha beta or whatever, playable demo or early access, although that's a whole nother podcast right there, our discussions and back and forth on the concept of early access.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's still so much we need to discuss and talk about, but I'm glad we're in a state now where we're finishing up the demo level. I mean, there's still a lot to do in the demo level. Don't get me wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm excited that I've started pre-production on level 1. Obviously, I feel like there are times where I'm probably simplifying my part of the role where, yeah, I just create diagrams.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also trying to work in what network concepts should we start introducing, and then maybe figure out ways in the game script to talk about them, not just be some boring, like, this is what TCP does, this is what UDP does. No, let's make it at least a little bit more engaging than that, and
Right.
and there's going to be a whole story happening too in the game. It's
Yeah, that's another thing. as, on top of being either an arcadey kind of, just plug wires in and, make sure end to end they're in the right um, ports, based off of a diagram. Then there's the whole, the more realistic end of the spectrum, like Zuby was talking about, where we get into, pings and trace routes and all that. But he's right. There is actually an underlying story to the game. It's
Yep.
not just a simulator. There is a storyline, and it's kind of topical, timely.
And it's kind
It's
of fun too. It's going to
it's
be a
fun.
fun storyline, and it's
It is.
I mean we're still talking, but we're still hashing out, and and I think the story's going to be done in a way where you could probably just ignore it if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's not going to be like there's cut scenes and stuff, and
Right.
hey, go fetch us 5 Ethernet cables so we can, get the army tanks patched up online. Not like that. No.
Right. No, no. Yeah.
No, we're not going to do cutscenes or anything. Not that I don't think we would.
No.
I mean,
Nope.
we do have the motion capture suit. I mean, if Kurt wants to, you know, motion
Good point.
capture some sexy people.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point. Um, so we have a motion capture suit, like a professional one. It's really kind of neat.
We
Um,
originally got it for Walrus Go, which is just being shelved. It's not
yeah,
gone or anything.
it's not.
Yeah,
Look,
you've
I
put too
think
much work into that, man, for it to just be done.
well, what I like about it, I consider it already a victory in that, to your point, recyclability, reuse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, we spent a lot of time on this game and on one particular concept of the game, which was to create the most realistic random movement
Oh,
of
that's right. Yeah.
of a living creature, right? So that, for instance, if
We get
you
birds and
know
sharks in it.
yeah, birds and sharks, like if I'm swimming in the water and a shark detects me, it's not like one frame later he's turned 90 degrees and is coming at me, right? It's more that natural progression of you know moving through water or through the air. Just the normal movement. There's only so many degrees that in any of the three major axes that something can move, right? Especially in water. So we worked very hard to create the base code that can be applied to anything. Right? It can applied to any object in Unreal, and then you just tweak the parameters, and essentially it moves. It moves pretty realistically.
Yeah, that's
If
awesome.
you yeah, if you give the blueprint, like if you give the skeletal mesh some animation, and you put the animation on it correctly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it will look like it really is doing that, moving slowly, and there's a lot of randomness too, um, and a lot of like, there's nothing in this area. Let me go explore another area, and then I'll come back to this area, kind of stuff. So for me, it's a huge win in that sense, and it's 3D, so it is not the typical AI that you will uncork inside of Unreal. Oh, and people say, well, but Unreal has an AI. It's two dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has to be on walking on or moving across a plane, whether that's an inclined surface or, yes, it can be multiple levels, but those AIs are not making something move as if it's in water or flying through the air. And
That makes sense. Yeah.
and that's what we wanted. We wanted AI that could swim or fly through the air or things like that. So anyway, Walrus Go is on the shelf for right now, but there are major pieces of it that are done. And for those who wanted to know what kind of game it was or will be, right? Um, it's pretty much a kind of a PvP game, battle royale, winner takes all kind of thing. So think Animal Party along those lines, but different, a little bit different. Um, it's
It's
kind
going to
of the
be
last
dancing instead of like
dance.
actual fighting.
Yeah, yeah. So like you're not going to pick up a baseball bat and whack somebody. You actually have to do. It's almost how would you? It's almost like a dancing martial arts kind of game, where
Oh yeah, yeah.
you got to know your dance moves. You got to skill them up and all that, and then cool downs and But the whole idea is that there's sharks in the water and the birds in the air, and you gotta knock all the other walruses in the water and be the last surviving walrus on the ice, and you know all while the birds are doing their part. They're pooping on you and causing a whiteout so you can't see. And so there's a lot of mechanics that eventually will happen in this game, but I just think that right now there's not an appetite for it, in my opinion. I could be wrong, right? But
Well, and we're at a place with NetSim where we
mhm,
know there's want for it, and it's going to be pretty exciting. So, I mean, I don't want to
exactly.
discount Walrus A Go Go completely
No,
because,
no, no, no. We'll
yeah,
we'll get back to it.
yeah,
Look, everything comes in cycles. We need right now. NetSim is hot. Let's get it done. But then we'll
hmm
we'll get back to Walrus a Go Go. It will and the dancing walruses. Um,
One thing I do
it'll
want
be
to mention for NetSim before we end it here, for anyone listening, uh, I am going to be at Cisco Live between June 2nd and June 4th or June 5th. And we are hoping to, one, we're hoping to have the demo ready before June.
mhm.
Because not only do we have Steam Next Fest that we're signed up for, I haven't picked a day yet for Steam Next Fest, but it's starting June 10th, and then it goes on, I think, for a week or so. But if you're listening, you know, and you're going to Cisco Live, like, hey, we're going to try to have the demo there. I'm going to be showing other people there that I know at Cisco Live. So it's going to be a pretty exciting time. And I love going to Cisco Live every year. It's so much fun. I have a blast every year. Maybe one day we'll have our own Walrus booth once we're like in the
One day.
millions.
Yep, one day. I mean, it'll be fun. One day it will be. We will have that booth, and everybody's gonna be having a grand old time. And
Dude, we'd be the only video game company there because it's all network
yeah,
switches, monitor hardware, server stuff. It's
right.
all
And
like tech.
everybody be lined up to play. I
uh,
mean,
Dude,
we
that would
might
be
have to.
awesome.
I mean, good God, we may have to rent enough equipment like a game con or something, right? Where we got
Oh my
like
god! Oh my god!
could you imagine? Could you imagine it would almost be like how Microsoft does Halo
Yeah,
when they go someplace. There's like three, maybe three sets of tables with four or five computers on each side
yeah.
of the table, and you
Oh my
know,
god! Can you imagine? Oh, if we had that for NetSim at Cisco Live, dude. That's not a bad idea. And
right?
I've got Cisco contacts like high up
Yeah,
there. So
right.
and I've also
So
got some other high end executive contacts for other companies that I'm not going to name here that do run fairly large conventions.
right.
Oh
So
shit, that could be a.
see, that's what I think we do. And in return, they say, well, what's in it for us? And then we'll say, well, free product placement, right? So the first one to the door,
Yeah.
first one comes to the table, we'll give them the free product placement in the game, right? It won't be a Walrus Switch. It will be, Cisco or Dell or ABC or take your pick, right?
Yeah, Dell switches. They're so great. Hi, Michael Dell. If you're listening, I love your network equipment. Oh, God, I can't do that with a straight face.
Dude,
I just fucking ruined our chances of getting sponsored by Dell Networking.
everything has a role. Everything has a purpose.
Hey, Dell servers are great.
Yeah.
I, I,
Oh yeah.
I think their server stuff is great.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They've always had good compute.
Okay,
Their
and
compute
I will
has
say
been
their
good.
old Dell Force 10 switches were good. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Um, I can't. I take your word for it. I can't really say anything. But their compute environments are good. I've always,
Yeah, I can say honestly, like between the places I've worked at that had HP versus Dell,
oh,
um,
night and day, night
it's
and day.
not that HP's bad, but what I would have to say is night and day is the support. Dell, like
Mhm.
I've always had amazing luck with Dell support versus HP support.
Let me give Dell this plug. I was working in a place a number of years ago, and their hardware was out of date. Um, and so we did some investigating for them and said, okay, what's it gonna we'd like to buy support license, and they're like, oh, no, it's too far out of date. But they worked with us, right? And eventually, they did cut us a support agreement, and it was a little pricier than normal, but they did cut us a support agreement, and they said they had enough kind of hardware. They tracked down enough hardware to kind of put it aside for the just in case moment, and it was good.
Yeah.
They were good.
Yeah, I mean that's one kudos I will give Dell, that their
Yep.
support has always been top notch. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yep. All
yeah,
right.
so
What
I mean
else?
we've got Cisco Live coming up, the Steam Next Fest. I mean we're
Hmm.
approaching 10,000 wish lists already. Um,
Yeah, that's a lot for the video game. That's a lot of wishes.
that's crazy to me. Like I never thought we would get that much, but
Do you remember? So, so when we first put the game up on Steam as coming soon, um, we went to sleep. Like our expectations were what we would get in the single or double digits, right? We thought probably get some double digit
well,
interest.
I was gonna be happy if we got 100 wish lists.
Yeah,
Took at,
yeah,
at the end of all of it.
right. So we were just expecting like these double digit wish listers, right? And even then, like Matt said, over time, we woke up, so we put it out there, right? And well, we woke up the next day and it was how much was it the
like
first
like over 2,000.
something like that?
Yeah.
And we were stunned. Well, no, I know what it was. It was actually like in the 600.
Oh, that's
Like
yeah.
we
You're right.
we
You're right. Yeah.
we woke up the very next morning after it was at night. We put it out there. We wake up and it's 600, and we're like, you got to be shitting me.
Well, and I was also skeptical of the numbers too. I'm like, okay, there's got to be something wrong here. Like,
Yeah, we thought it was like bots or something, right? So then we turned around, and the next day is when it was like in the 2000s, and we're like,
yeah,
okay, what the hell's going on?
like
And
what
then
the
Matt
fuck?
Matt tracks down literally this Japanese streamer who streams like games that are coming out, right?
Well,
Or
no, it was a Japanese magazine site that
oh,
that
okay,
that talks about upcoming games or whatever.
okay,
Somehow found our game and made a whole article about us, and there, there's a
yeah,
whole bunch of comments, and because when we saw the increase in numbers, I looked up the stats of it, and I'm like, holy shit, Japan is going crazy for this game, and then China, and then Hong Kong, and then Vietnam, and it's like
yeah. I mean,
all these Eastern countries were like, what the fuck? What happened?
yeah. And it turns out that this guy, and it was like he gave us just based on the video, the gameplay, and the things we said would be in it, gave us a very favorable review. and it went crazy. Then it just kept spreading,
And
and
it's still going crazy because that's been the only like article that I've been able to find on it.
yeah,
If there's others out there, let us know because I've not seen anything. But
I no,
and so I think what happened at that point was because I've been doing reading where when you get X amount of wish list or X amount of traction, Steam will start showing your game more on like, coming soon or up and coming type stuff. Because then, our public Discord, and we don't have a lot of people, but it grows continuously every week that we're getting a whole bunch of people coming. Constantly want to ask about the game, get people on the Steam page asking about it. I get DMs on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram about it. It's like, Jesus Christ.
right? And that's the craziest thing. We never in our wildest dreams thought any of this, let alone 10,000 people wish listing.
Yeah.
Wish listing it. That's not yeah, okay, that yes, some people may not buy it who are on the wish list, right?
Oh yeah, it's
But
not going to be a full conversion of
right, but
everybody.
but on the other hand, there's a lot of people that aren't on the wish list. Like I never put anything on a wish list, but it's in my head. It's wish
I mean,
listed in my
I do.
head.
I wish list a lot of stuff.
So, um, you know, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. That's all I'll say about it.
Yeah.
But it's been crazy as we get close to 10,000. Nobody ever thought anything like this.
No.
Not at
No.
all. So,
No, and I know we've got more to come because my contacts in the network industry, I'm going to
mhm.
be pimping this game like crazy. Um,
There we go.
you know.
I I almost think like we need another Steam update. Another,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
yeah. I want to plan on that. When Lynx comes back, because he said he's coming back this weekend.
okay.
I want to talk to him about that. Maybe do another Q&A stream like I did, and maybe have him do like a good dev update notes that I can put up on Steam. Because I at least want to do something once a month. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I think if we publish something out there, I think it's going to push those numbers up even more.
Yep.
Not that we're in it for the numbers, right? But more than anything, I just want to show people that we're doing things, we're doing interesting things,
Mm-hmm.
and to give them a chance to even comment on it, come into the public Discord and said, "I love that, I hate that."
Yeah.
Go for it. You know, go for it.
Well, I think that's
And
a
and
yes.
and
And
I'll just tease this. Tomorrow afternoon,
oh, that's right. That's right.
we have a meeting with somebody about possibly uh, contributing their and not we're not talking for free, but collaborating with us and putting some very cool synthy kind of music into the game. So we'll see how that plays out.
That is going to be exciting. I can't wait for that because, I mean, this is all thing.
Yeah.
You're not going to fangirl out, are you?
Me? No. Oh my God, no. No, 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 no. No. If anything, I want him to understand that he can just be himself around us. Say whatever the hell he wants because
Yeah.
he was talking on. So he's also a streamer, but he was talking today about how yeah, he may seem like real gregarious and outgoing on stream, but in reality, he's kind of more of a nervous Nelly, and you
Yeah.
know what I mean.
Oh,
Kind
yeah.
of,
Oh, yeah. No, I know what you mean.
yeah. So it's like, man, just be yourself. That I
Yeah.
think that's the first thing we say. You can say anything you want here. It's a safe space meeting.
We're not going to secretly record you and then leak it on Twitter and be like, oh my God, he's a piece of shit.
Uh-oh. Dogs, hang on.
Well, no, and I think that's a great place to end it too. Um,
Okay.
because we are over an hour. But no, I mean, yeah, we've got work coming up with NetSim. We've got the book released, Darkstorm Adventures, April 15th. Silver Flames
Yep.
Legacy Escape to Stangate, April 15th. It's only going to be available on Drive-Thru RPG digitally and physically for the time being, but I'm working on getting the physical book being available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon as well too. So if you'd rather shop there for the physical book, but digital only is only going to be on Drive-Thru RPG for the time being. So,
Yep.
well, I think that's way to end it. Anything you want to end off with, Dante?
Uh, no, man. Look, if you like what you're, I think just this. If you like what you're hearing here, go check out our public Discord, Walrus Game Studio. Um, there's other like-minded people over there.
Mm-hmm.
There's not tons of conversations that happen all the time, but
Not yet, at least.
not yet at least.
Because
But
there's not a whole lot. When we start getting stuff released, yes, there
yeah,
will be
there will be.
more chatter.
But you can also drop comments in there. We'll pick them up. So,
Yep.
I think that's it. I think
Okay.
just, yep.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me as always, and thank you everybody for listening and watching. And I hope you all have a great night.
You too, man. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.